Hello, everyone. Good morning and welcome to Abia Great Lakes Chapter's Tech webinar titled The Art of Job Hunt. Today, we'll be talking about how to build resumes, search for jobs, and prepare oneself for interviews. Our speaker today is Salman Mia. He is a mechanical engineer graduated from MIST, Bangladesh in 2006, postgraduated in design and manufacturing engineering from University of Greenwich, UK in 2009, and then in mechanical and industrial systems engineering from University of Massachusetts, USA in 2017. He has worked in several different positions and in several different industries. Marketing, logistics, and procurement are worth mentioning apart from engineering. Since 2018, he has been in the automotive industry. He started as a driveline controls engineer at Fiat Chrysler Automobiles. Currently, he's working as a functional safety engineer in the powertrain systems team at Ford Motor Company. Before we start, I'll request everyone other than the speaker to turn their camera and microphones off. If you have any questions, please write it in the chat and we'll get to that. There will also be a question and answer section at the very end. With that, let's welcome our speaker, Salman Mia.
Hello, hello everyone. Good morning. Thank you, Avi, for a nice introduction. Okay, I'll actually jump to the topic. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay. Today's topic is the art of job hunt. I'm not going to go through all the basics, how to write a resume, what should be the bullet points and all that. But what I'm going to do today is point out the most important part of the resume when you write a resume or build a specific resume for specific job titles. So today's focus would be construct resume, how to make it effective. I'm also focusing on growing interest on learning, then how you are going to make your job application interesting or you become passionate about it. Like one point I really want to make here that when you start applying for jobs, first couple of days you become really bored, stressed because it's really hard work. You're applying for jobs 3-4 times a day or something, and then you start losing your interest on that. So we are going to focus on that, how to solve that issue. And then also I'm going to point out few things we should not do and we should do during that period. And also I added few examples that contains construct resume, what additional documents we can actually share with you, all those stuffs. And then obviously we are going to end up with a Q&A session. Let's move to construct resume section. So when you write a resume, we mostly focus on few things, like you have to make an enriched, keyword enriched resume, right? So that's the focus. Almost everybody know that, and but we normally focus on few things at first, which is resume, right? You are not going to write only one resume. That actually make lots of things really complicated. I'm going to explain why. And then another point I will focus, which is a resume vault. I'll explain what is a resume vault within a minute. So first, if we start with resume writing, instead of starting a resume like my name and then objective, core skills, all those things, you focus on what job title you're going to apply for, right? So that would be easy for you to identify. First, you go to your courses, which courses you really liked, which courses you really scored high grades and all that. You choose your titles from that. Like maybe it can be from projects, it can be different courses. Any question? Okay. So from that, for example, you selected 2, maybe 3. So I suggest start with 2 if you don't have any previous job experience. start with two, like if you're mechanical engineer, quality engineer, or um, systems engineer, you can pick one or two, two or three. That would be really good. And then the second most important thing for the resume is your objective. That objective should contain your job title. That means what you're applying for. So when anyone, any any HR manager or any job recruiter or any hiring manager see your resume, start reading, within a couple of lines, when he actually go through, he'll find out that why you're applying for. So your objective should contain two things: why you're applying for that job and what you're applied for, like your job title. That job title, it's not necessary that should be only one. That can be similar, like you have calibration, wheel testing, something like that, which are actually similar job responsibilities. You can identify those things in a single line, right? And then the second point I would to make resume vault. So easiest way to make a resume vault is your LinkedIn profile. I really like LinkedIn so much because most of the time I applied through LinkedIn and I got lots of positive feedback too. What you can do is whatever you have your background, like projects, courses, course details, then your previous experience if you have, or volunteer work, certificates, trainings, everything, you can update that in LinkedIn. And LinkedIn actually give you an option to download that profile as a resume. So that can be a vault, easiest way to create. But there is another part I want to point out, that you should maintain one Word document or an Excel file for that resume vault. That will help you out identifying a different job title objectives, right? So your resume vault should contain multiple job objectives for individual job titles. Then you can ask me that how can I identify two job title based resume when I have job experience, or all the responsibilities are the same, right? So what you can do is, for example, you have controls engineering experience, but you are applying for manufacturing job title, right? So you minimize the responsibilities for that particular controls engineering job experience to one or two bullet points. Whereas if you're applying for controls engineering, you're not going to do that. You're going to focus and write in detail for that particular job experience or your projects, right? So if you're applying for a manufacturing job, your controls related project should be described within one or two lines. But if you're applying for controls job, then your projects related to controls should be in more details, like 5, 6, even sometimes it hits 7 bullet points, right? In standard number is 4 to 6, but if you want to more give more details on the particular project, you can add 1 or 2 additional bullet points. And then another benefit for creating a resume vault is, most of the cases, like we are in OPT, right? So contract houses comes and ask that give us as many details as possible. So you're wasting time creating like 3, 4, 5 pages resume where you try to add all the details, right? So in that case, your resume vault gives you an opportunity to save a lots of time, and you can generate that particular resume from LinkedIn, or you can just generate that from your Word or Excel file, share that with the contract house in no time. That's actually give you a huge benefit. And another thing you can maintain, like if you have only one resume and you switch that resume and create a different version for different job title every day, then within few days, you probably lose track which one is the latest one or which one is the proper resume for a particular job title. So that can help you out as well. Okay, next, making a keyword enriched resume. So this is very important. So when we first start writing a resume, we are writing whatever we know for a particular task we did in a project or something, or maybe in our previous experience. But we don't know that particular uh, statement we made on that particular project or job experience has a specific keyword. So when you start looking for jobs, if you go through the job description, you will find those keywords. And once you find those keywords, you should pick those keywords, use them in your resume, replace those things with your statements. The statement should be replaced by those keywords. Or you can create an Excel file. You copy all those keywords and put that in the Excel file. And once you have your vault ready, you can replace those things, vice versa. So we have a document. Shaun is created one of the, I think, largest lists of keywords. If you contact one of our teammates, Mahmoud, I think Mahmoud has the whole package. So I think you already have those package with you from Mahmoud, but you don't know how to utilize them effectively. That's the reason this particular webinar I'm presenting today. And the second point for the keyword enriched resume is ATS. ATS is actually applicant tracking system. Nowadays, no HR or hiring manager go through the resumes when they receive the resumes. They put that resume through ATS, and ATS has some criteria, like they have specific keywords. When they identify those keywords in the resume, they pick those resumes. So if an HR or hiring manager receives 50, 60 resumes, they put that through ATS and then filtering them, created them like a list number, like 10, 15, and then they go through that set of resume for second selection. So ATS plays a big role nowadays for picking a resume. So I will advise you for two things, like when you apply for any job anywhere, try to maintain two things. Do not use any table in your resume. Do not save or send any version which is star.docx or PDF. Always share the 97 to 2003 Word version, which is star.doc. I have an example I'll show you later on. So that version is actually keep every single details you put that in the resume intact. So if you share PDF or any other version, there's a high chance that ATS could not pick all the details. It removes, filters few details, or maybe some cases important details from the resume. So it is really really important to make a start.doc file so that ATS can work that through properly. And before I go to the job application section, I have something to tell you here, which is you classify the jobs into four different sections. One is easy apply, where you see, like, if you go to LinkedIn or Indeed, you already uploaded your resume there, right? So if you go through job filtering, you'll find that there is an easy apply button. You press that, your resume automatically submitted on that particular jobs, right? So that is easy apply. And then the second one is direct apply to website. So there's a job online. You click the link, it takes to the appropriate website. You fill that resume online manually. It takes maybe sometimes 15 to 20 minutes. right? And the third section I divided into contract house. So contract house, normally what they do is they send you an email and ask you that, okay, this position, it matches with your resume. We saw that, saw your resume somewhere. And you're supposed to send them your latest resume and then go from there. And the fourth one is forward your resume to an appropriate reference. So that's where I suggest you always develop a cover letter. So now cover letter does not mean anything. A cover letter means your email body. So for example, you send your email to me, and I am forwarding your resume to my hiring manager, for example. So in that case, I need you to give me a cover letter as an email body so that I can send it to my hiring manager. So you can write like very generic 3-4 lines of cover letter as an email body and save it in your maybe resume vault or somewhere and use that in that particular cases. And now I'll go back to growing interest on learning before I go to the job application. So it is related to a resume update. So I actually go through this one before I go there. So I divide this portion into 3 sections. One is new skills. New skills contain learning new stuff as well as new tools and methods. And then self-development. It sounds like new skills and self-development is same, but it's not. And then interview preparation. So in new skills, you see, go through your job search that you're looking for mechanical engineer or electrical engineer job title. And when you go through the job description, you find that there's some additional job tools they're looking for. Like, for example, MATLAB, but they're looking for Python, right? So you can go through YouTube videos and all those things and learn about Python by yourself. That's actually you're learning new skills, right? That's a new tool as well. In MATLAB, you can go to MATLAB website and go through their online free projects and use them as an additional project in your resume, right? Self-development, on the other hand, is you're comparing yourself with your previous version. For example, last week, today's Sunday. So last Sunday, your resume and today's resume, you compare that and try to find out what gets added in your resume in this week. If you find that there is nothing, the resume is exactly the same, that means you didn't learn any new skill, you didn't learn anything, you didn't update any keywords in your resume, nothing. So that's how you measure your progress. So I call it self-development in respect to your own resume. So you can use lots of things. Like, for example, you can use someone to check or someone to verify your resume that, okay, these are the stuffs I'm doing. For example, I am a functional safety engineer. So if someone is really interested on applying for functional safety engineer, apart from going through the job description, you can also contact me and maybe discuss with me that, okay, in order to become a functional safety engineer, what additional stuff I need to have, right? So that's an example I'm actually saying. So apart from that self-development, I also add few things which is related to the interview section. So you can call your mom, dad, brother, sisters, and you try to select a single question or something from your resume you just learned and try to explain that particular thing, like what you learned in MATLAB, right? What project you did for MATLAB. Try to explain them. And the other side of the phone, they don't have to respond anything. All you do is increase your fluency. So if you talk over the phone, that will really help you out. And then the interview prep. So mostly there's few sections. When we started applying for jobs, we don't know how to answer a particular question. Like, for example, nowadays, if you apply, before asking you questions, the hiring manager normally tell you that, okay, I am actually expecting you to answer the question in such a way. So the most popular way is STAR method. So STAR method is situation, task, action, and result. So they always expect you to explain those things in this manner. And if you don't know, you can say, I don't know what is STAR method. They will explain what is STAR method, and then you should answer that way. So it is mostly applicable for any kind of question answer session. Doesn't matter it's technical interview, doesn't matter it's behavioral interview. So if you want to know about more, you can go to YouTube and look for it. And there's lots of in detail explanation about it. And for the second step of interview, like you have a phone interview with HR, and then second interview with hiring manager, and then you have a face-to-face interview. So face-to-face interview happens when you have lots of phone interview and you successfully crack them, and then go to the face-to-face interview. So I always suggest everybody that you prepare for phone interview. So phone interview actually ask that the moment you listen the question, hear the question, you immediately answer that. If you take like 2 minutes to answer, the other side of the phone, they start realizing that, okay, probably you don't know the answer. You're looking through your stuff, or maybe you're Googling the answer, right? So you always try to prepare yourself for phone interview and try to answer as quickly as possible within 2 minutes. That's the standard time. You cannot take more than 2 minutes to answer any question. That also help you increase your fluency when you're speaking. And then once you are really good at it, it actually gives you a confidence boost, definitely. And then the second part, I will always tell you the technical questions. So technical questions, people actually think about like, okay, what can be the question for technical interview, right? Mostly the technical interview happens when the hiring manager go through your resume. So they will read line by line and stop in a single point and ask you, okay, how you did this or how you achieved this, right? So that can be a mostly technical question. Like if they stop in your core skill and ask you, okay, give me a C++ example, and can you solve this kind of problem within 3 minutes, something like that. So that's a technical questions, technical interview. Behavioral interview, on the other hand, we have 2025 topmost asked questions list. Also, we have some dummy answers as well. But I will suggest you just pick the questions and try to create the answers by yourself from your own projects. So what will happen is, if you write down a project you already did, right? So if you write down a project you already did, you know every bits and pieces, ins and outs of that project. So even though the behavioral question came, which is not within that 25, which is uncommon, right? You still can answer from your project. So that's the portion I'm actually explaining here. Yeah, so it actually helps you out for few things, right? If you write down a project essay, like for example, 1 or 2 project you picked and you write down an essay on that, that will help out preparing for almost all the behavioral questions. Doesn't matter if it's in your list or not. And then at the end, face-to-face interview. Face-to-face interview, I will always suggest, which I also already mentioned here, investigate about your company, learn about your interviewer. So face-to-face interview is once you have an invitation, you ask the HR to give you the names of the interviewer, and they will be always happy to provide those names. You try to understand what the company does, and then you try to understand the background of the interviewer. In that case, that will actually help you understand whether they will ask you too many technical questions, or mostly they will start with behavioral questions. And another thing, I'm not sure whether it is appropriate or not nowadays, but it is really helpful, a visiting card. So mostly face-to-face interviews kind of obsolete right now. Maybe out of 100, 90, 95% time, you'll see that you have a face-to-face online interview. They call it face-to-face now, right? So in that case, you cannot actually share the visiting card. But if you have a face-to-face physical interview, you can share your physical visiting card. I have a dummy version I can show you in the later on in example section. So passionate for applying jobs. What I mentioned at the very beginning, that when you start applying for jobs, you apply 5, 6, 7 jobs a day, and then you start losing interest. That's the key. If you lose interest on applying jobs, I see lots of people, they apply 1 or 2 jobs a week, which is very bad. So I give you a tip, which is quality game is when you create a resume. So your resume is related to your quality. But when you apply for jobs, that's not quality, that's quantity. So if you compare 2 people, one person apply 30 jobs a day and another person apply for like 5 jobs a day, who has more chance to have a job, right? So it's obvious. So how do you keep applying jobs and you like that as well, right? So that's what I actually explained in one of the sections, that you divide the type of the jobs, right? When you divide the type of the jobs, you apply for easy jobs, easy apply jobs for whole day, and then you apply for those jobs are manually input needed. You can apply those things anytime, right? So you can choose not to apply during the time. 8 to 5 is the daytime. You can apply for those things after 5, right? So first step, I will move a little bit backward and explain. Like first, what you can do is looking for jobs. It's obvious, but apart from that, you can do some homework. Like you can find out what is the list of OEMs who's hiring, what is the list of suppliers, what is the list of contract houses, right? Nowadays, it is like, everywhere you see AI web pages, right? I think there's a web page, job scan. So on the right side, you put your resume, and left side, if you put the job description copied from some website like Glassdoor or something, it when you press scan, it will tell you what is the percentage of your chance, right? For example, what is the percentage of your resume and job description matches, like 80%, 90%, 70%, something like that, which is, if you have a premium LinkedIn account, you will see every time you select a job, right? So that can be possible in other web pages as well. Then you can also use Grammarly to fix your mistakes, or replace a single word with a better word in your resume. This point, I'm actually saying, I'm actually identifying few points. If you are in OPT, most of the cases I see people did, and also I also one of them, I did those things too. Do not apply those jobs which requires green cards. That's obvious. But another thing, we make a mistake at that time, like we go to OEM website like Ford, Chrysler, GM, and try to apply. But if we are in OPT, they will not hire us. Like OPT, if the company does not hire OPT, do not apply there. That's waste of time. So eventually that position actually come to you through a contract house. So you don't actually waste time going to the website and apply for that. Yeah. Try to apply jobs as much as possible, 8 to 5. If you say 30 jobs you apply today, try to make it 32 next day, then 35 next day. Try to increase your target every single day. And then another uh, important thing is your to-do list. So always try to maintain the to-do list on daily basis. Try to complete every to-do list task by the day. Like 8 to 5, you're applying for jobs and interviewing over the phone. And after 5, you start studying your resume. You update your resume. You go to LinkedIn and try to look for those website-based jobs you already saved. You can apply for that too as well. Right? So these are the things, and I suggest, even though it looks like more than 90% matches, you do not go uh, specific website and fill out that particular job in 8 to 5 time. So 8 to 5 is actually very critical every day, because HR as well as hiring manager also actually online, and they look for different applications. Like for example, you just apply for a position and hiring manager was looking for something and they found it, they will call you immediately. That happens lots of times. So you try to grab those opportunities. So if you have a manual job application, even though it's like 90%, 95% match, you save that for uh, um, afterward, like after 5, you fill that up and post. Okay, we kind of came to an end. Example, in this section, I will go one by one. For career objective, what I mentioned in the very beginning, you can have 2 types of objectives. One is 2-pager resume, and another one is 1-pager resume. I have those examples I'll show you. So this is for 2-pager resume. And obviously I colored that for identifying two of them. So don't use colors in your resume. That's a bullet point. So you try to write down all the achievements you have, and which is related to the job title in your objective. And at the end, you try to write down your job titles, 1 or 2, which you're applying for. Okay, and that would be the key. So if that is there, most of the cases, and the hiring manager will start reading through because you showed interest on that particular job title. And the other one, this one is actually not an objective, it's a summary. You can also use that, like, in single page resume, instead of in the middle, you write down your name, location, all this information on the left, and write down your key achievements in your right. That can be another way to write your objectives or summary at the top of your resume. And this is applicable for single page resume, but I will not suggest you to go and use this one. This one would be better. You can make it like 2 to 3 lines instead of making 6, 7. And then another way to optimize your resume, you see here, created an AI image processor using MATLAB scripting. So the headline actually saying everything, almost everything he did in this particular project. Now, if the job title is not related to this, 1-line project description is sufficient enough. But if you think this is really helpful to explain that you work in this particular environment which is related to your job title, you go and explain this. Like you break that even in detail description and try to point out. So that happens here. Design and study static and dynamic machine, develop a digital temperature, all of them are here. And those are single line description. and multi-line. So that's how you save your space in a resume and add important stuff which is related to your job title. That's how you differentiate two resume from each other, even though you actually have almost all description like identical. You can minimize the number of the bullet points, and you can do that. And this is the this is the single page resume, and this is the double page resume. I put few things like summary. You should not use summary here, so I put that as a summary, and you should not put as a summary. Summary means basic 2-3 line description of the resume, but I will replace the summary with objective. Another thing is education. Always try to put the education after your professional experience. Never put the education at the top, because for example, nowadays every single time you see that electrical engineering, mechanical engineering, they require, but the job description matches with you, right? For example, they say electrical engineer, but the job description matches with you. So if they see that mechanical engineering saying, they probably leave your resume. They will not go through your resume anymore. So try to take this one out. Try to put that after your professional job experience. Another thing you can add is courses. So you can identify those courses which are related to your job title. That will also help you out. And another mistake almost everybody did, I did as well, is you see how I write one single line which describes my degree, university, location, as well as the time. So people actually say master's in mechanical engineering, and then second line university, third line location, fourth line is the duration. Instead of doing that, you are actually killing lots of spaces. So if you try to make that in single line, you will save lots of spaces, and you can add more details. Like for example, here in the project, you can add 2-3 more projects if you do that. Like for example, if this description takes 3 lines, I cannot add this much of projects, right? Same thing here in 2-page resume. I can identify a few points. Like here, 1 bullet points take 2 lines, right? So you can focus on that. Instead of making 2 lines bullet point, you can make 2 bullet points, and you can add 2 other tools or other details and make a full sentence instead of half sentence. So these are the key. You can add more details. You'll find a way to add more details as much as possible, so that it actually tells the ATS that okay, all the criteria your resume fulfills. So that's how your resume will forward into next stage. And then this one I already explained, that how you make your job experience focused on a particular job title. So I was applying for controls engineering. So my controls engineering related job experience should be in detail. Whereas if I apply for manufacturing engineering, my job experience details should not contain 5, 6, 7 lines. So even though his 3 lines is too much, I can actually make only 1 line, because it does not probably make sense for manufacturing engineering. And this is an example of how to identify the keywords. So this is, I downloaded from Glassdoor, one calibration engineering job responsibilities. Once you do that, you find out that these red marks mostly are the keywords. You will find out that these keywords are actually present in your resume, but writing in a manner that it does not look like a keyword. So you replace those statements with this particular keyword, so that next time when you submit your resume, ATS will pick your resume because of those keywords. So do not use all keywords which are not valid for your resume. Like you don't know something. For example, you don't know what is Python, what is VBA, but you are going to copy this and paste this in your resume. Doesn't make any sense. So if you know what is Python, yes, go ahead. You're welcome to do that. But if you don't, do not use any additional keyword. Like for example, there is another trick for ECUs, right? So you have experience on Motohawk ECUs, but you do not have experience in DSpace. So what you can do is in the bracket, you can write that Motohawk is similar to DSpace. In that way, you're not saying any false statement in your resume, but you're using an additional keyword as well. So you can use those tricks, and you can enrich your resume with keywords. And this is another example I told you, that when you have a face-to-face interview, you can use your visiting card. So this was my visiting card, and you can now use QR code as well. I'm not sure it is good because you have to scan with your mobile. I don't like that. So I did this. So another information about this is, if you go to Staples, both side black and white 300 copies is $10 to $15. You just give them the design, they will print out for you. And if it is color, it's probably around $20, $25 to $30 max. So you can use this one, and you can, like, if you go to, for example, Hamtramck for grocery shopping, right? And you find someone like a big brother or something, and he was saying that, okay, I have a job. Do you have a resume with you right now? You say, no, I don't have my resume with me, but you can share the visiting card with him. And it says LinkedIn, right? So LinkedIn, you can go there, you can see your resume, right? So that's a trick you can use. Not only for interview, you can use that in daily life too. And this is the version I was talking about, Word 97 to 2003 document start.doc. This version should actually be saved, like your resume should be saved in this version and shared everywhere. Do not go for docs or PDF. You can do another thing. You can lock your Word file as read-only, so that the contract house does not actually play with your resume. But yeah, other than that, I should advise you go and do this. And then the last page, probably you already have these documents from Mahmoud, Shaun, then I think Mahmoud, another person. They are actually creating these things during the period of job application. These documents I have created. So you see all the names of the suppliers. You see all the names of contract house. You see all the names of the OEMs. So you can go to the website and go to the career section and find whether they're hiring or not. That is really good. It's not only for supplier and the OEMs, it's also applicable for contract house too. Sometimes contract house also post their jobs in their own website. That also works. So you can go to the carrier and find the specific representative. So that representative you can call and tell them that, okay, I applied for this job in your recruiting website. Can you follow that up? They will be happy to follow that up. Yep, I think I reach within the time limit. Oh no, sorry, I took 10 minutes extra. So if anyone have any question, please, this is the time I can help you out.
Thank you. Yeah, it was a very detailed presentation. Thanks for all the tips and tricks you spoke about. Anyone have a question?
I have a question.
Good.
So, Bhaiya, you just shared a list of the companies. Can we get that list, or is that list for everyone, like OPT and green card holder, for everyone, or is it for specific peoples?
No, this is for everybody. Doesn't matter it's for OPT or green card holder. I suggest you investigate mostly for the OEMs. Uh, for example, Tesla Motors, right? They hire OPT, but the problem is, the catch is, you have to stay with them at least 12 months. Then they will start working on your H1. So I cannot say this list does not work for OPT. So all you have to do is you have to go and investigate. I suggest another thing. You see the names, right? All you need names, right? You go to LinkedIn, search for technical recruiter, and select the company name: Ford Motor, Tesla, GM, uh, Mazda, right? And then add them in your LinkedIn. Okay, that's how you can also find a job posting. For example, for Tesla, if they post a job online, all the technical recruiters also post those jobs on their profile, so you will immediately get a notification.
Got it.
Right.
Thank you, Bhaiya.
Okay, so this one you get from Mahmoud. So Mahmoud has, I think, Google Drive, all the details. I already told you, right? All the documents, even the top 20-25 behavior questions and dummy answers, and then other stuff. Everything is actually organized in a single drive. He can share you the link.
Thank you.
Okay. I have a quick question about the resumes. You kind of did touch on that. For like a specific job application, right? So of course, everyone has a generic kind of resume, but when you are applying for a particular position where maybe not all your skills are needed, how do you emphasize on the things, or do you even need to take out some of the things that you said did in the past that are not relevant to that particular job posting? How do you take care of that?
Exactly. Before I start that, I'll tell you something, like, for example, core skills, right?
Mhm.
So sometimes people do, they take the keywords from the job description, put that in the core skill. But nowadays, what I see is, if the keywords are not actually present in your project or previous experience, they do not consider those things as uh, um, applicable for you. Like, you just copy something from internet and post that in your core skill, that doesn't make anything any value. So if I tell you, and now your question, you apply for manufacturing engineering, right? Anything is related to your manufacturing engineering, you write that in your resume. And anything is not applicable for your manufacturing engineering job, you try to take them out, so that you can put more stuff which is related to your manufacturing engineering. So I think I try to explain here, right? So it's an example of your job title, because job title actually takes one of the durations of your professional work, right? No matter what you do, you cannot take your technical automotive control assistant, that position, out of your resume, right? What you can do is, you write only one bullet point, because it's not related to your manufacturing engineering job, so that you have more space to push in, which is related to your manufacturing engineering. That also applicable for your core skills. So any
Mhm.
core skills, for example, GD&T, then FMEDA, those are, I think, more related to manufacturing. So you copy that, paste that on the first line. Okay, so it becomes prioritized. So you apply for manufacturing, whatever is related to manufacturing gets the priority at the first. Even though, like, for example, if you have a manufacturing engineering job experience, you put all the manufacturing related job responsibilities first, and then comes all the like coding and all those at the bottom, or you can take them off as well. Okay, yeah, that's how you, I mean, space is very important because your standard size is 2 page, right?
Right.
You cannot cross 2 pages, so you cannot make a generic resume for all job titles. So that's how you actually refine your resume.
Okay.
Is that
Thank you.
sufficient enough, or?
Yeah, absolutely. Good answer. We have a question from Arjun. Arjun, go ahead.
Yes. Thank you so much for the overall presentation. I have a quick question regarding the timeline. So if somebody is graduating next year spring, that means around May or April, May. So when would be the best time to start applying for jobs? Would it be one semester ahead, or would it be closer to graduation? Or what's your opinion on that?
So how do you want to pursue that? That's the point, because nowadays the market is, you have to focus on market as well, right? For example, if the market is slow, right, I suggest you start like one semester ahead. Like if you apply now, today is Sunday, and by Tuesday you get an interview call. Can you join next week? You cannot, because your OPT is pending, right? So you have to specify those information in your resume, that your work permit, you will receive your work permit on next fall or something. Or the trick is, you do not mention that in your resume, but in the first call you received, like coming from the hiring manager, right? Or maybe coming from the HR, you tell them specifically that this is the criteria of joining. If you give me 3 months, then I can join. Because if you don't do that, they will blacklist you. Okay, this person cannot have the work permit, so avoid the resume. Every single time they post their job, your resume will pop up because all the keywords is present there, right? So that's a big thing. And also another thing, probably when I described ATS, I forgot to mention, ATS also blacklist you. For example, if you apply for all jobs, right, like accounting, financing, engineering, managerial, directorial positions, they will blacklist you, and the highest thing I saw is 50 days. So ATS will give you red flag that, okay, this particular resume is blacklist. So when you apply for jobs, be careful. You do not apply like random, like you close your eye and count 1 to 10 and press easy apply. No, you focus on your job title, or maybe a type of jobs like hill testing, calibration, all are similar. You'll be fine. But that is my advice. So if you want to apply early, you have to make a clear statement that, okay, this is the timeline I can start. Before that, I cannot. Okay.
Okay. Thank you so much. It answers my question. Thank you.
Thank you, Arjun. Any other questions for someone? Yeah, so unfortunately, we didn't get the attendance that we expected. Of course, this being a Sunday probably plays into that. But thank you again, Salman, for being here today for
I have a
presenting.
question, Bhaiya.
Sure. Go ahead.
Bhaiya, I did my MBA also. So I did my undergrad in mechanical. Now I'm doing my master's in aerospace engineering. And while when I was in Bangladesh, I completed my MBA in finance. So the thing is, while representing my overall educational career in the education section of resume, how can I like organize those 3 type of the degrees? Yeah, after BSc, there was MBA, and then I'm now doing MS, but the fields are kind of different. So do you have any a suggestion for me how to organize those three things in my resume.
Oh, okay. First of all, I have not clear information on that one. Like, for example, if you come to USA and do MBA, you have, I think you have only 6 months of OPT and you cannot extend that for STEM OPT. So within 6 months, if you get your job, then they supposed to apply for your H1. I don't know how you handle that, but this is the strategy, right?
I did my MBA in Bangladesh. I did my
No, what I'm trying to say is if you apply for non-STEM jobs, right? You cannot, you have 1 year of OPT and you cannot extend that to 3 years.
Yes.
That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, yeah.
So if you get an MBA job or a bank job or whatever, which is non-STEM job, you have only 1 year, that's it. And then you cannot extend your OPT to STEM OPT 2 years. So
Yes.
that's the first thing I would suggest. But what you can do is once you get your job, you can use your MBA to like, you know, climb up ladders. Like you can apply in other company showing that you have MBA within 1.5 years, and you can have a supervisor position, or that's what I suggest.
Sure.
I think that's the very good implementation of your MBA. Other than that, I would suggest you should have your STEM related jobs for the first one.
Sure.
But once you change your you know, like in America, what I see is once you have MBA related job, it is very difficult for you to go and get a technical job, because they are not actually suggest you to change your track. If I'm not wrong, probably Avi and Tanzimapu, they can actually advise more about this. It is really hard to change your track, job track, but you can use that MBA later on in your career.
So, Bhaiya, should I put first MS in aerospace, or my department is mechanical and aerospace engineering, and then in BSc I did BSc, and then finally in the last line should I mention doing MBA?
Wait. So what you can do is the first degree you should put as, like, you know, the time sequence, right?
Sure.
So the latest one at the top, and then immediate one at the bottom, then next one. That's how you actually put, right?
Okay, sure.
That's, I mean, this is applicable not for only your educational background. That's also applicable for your project, volunteer work, professional experience, everything. If you check here, all of them maintain the exact same criteria. Like it is starting from 16 to 18 and then go backward, and this is 18 present, then go backward. Even the certificates, if you have time, you can put that time there. Then even the volunteer works, that is also come like first come first. It's like the latest one at the top, and then go backward.
Yes. Yes. Thank you.
So yeah, you should mention your MBA. That can give you an edge on top of other applicants. You should not take that off.
Thank you. Thank you, Bhaiya.
Okay.
Sorry, I was talking, I was muted. If there are no other questions, we can probably end here today. Thank you, Salman, again for presenting.
Thank you.
Thanks for presenting.
Best of luck, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you. Very nice presentation. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Have a good rest of the day.
A presentation, it will be available, right? For
yeah, we'll
anyone?
upload it on. We'll upload the presentation on our website, and we'll also upload the video on YouTube, our channel.
Who aren't able to join, they can still have access to it.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Thank
you. So, yeah, go ahead.
Do I have to email you the presentation, or how do I?
Yes,
I don't think
you can email me and Naima the presentation. We'll take care.
Okay, sure.
Thank you, Salman. Thank you, everyone else.